The massive alien ship appeared over New York without warning. Its sleek, silver hull reflected the morning sunlight as it hovered silently above the stunned city. Captain James Walker stood at attention in the United Nations Emergency Chamber, his decorated uniform neat despite the chaos of the past 12 hours. As Earth's leading military representative, he had been chosen to meet the aliens. "They're ready for us," said a UN official, gesturing toward the main conference room. Walker took a deep breath and straightened his back. 20 years in the military hadn't prepared him for this moment. The doors slid open to reveal 3 tall, blue-skinned aliens seated at the far end of the table. Their metallic robes caught the light, creating rainbow patterns across the walls. The tallest alien stood up. "I am High Commander Turner of the Galactic Council." His universal translator made his voice sound almost human. "We have come to welcome Earth into the greater galactic community." Walker nodded respectfully. "Captain James Walker, Earth Defense Force. We're honored by your presence." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Yes, we have been monitoring your civilization for some time. Your species has made interesting progress." There was something in his tone that Walker didn't like. The meeting proceeded smoothly until Walker mentioned Earth's military readiness to defend against any threats. High Commander Turner's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. "Defend? With these?" He waved his hand, and a hologram appeared showing Earth's military weapons. "Projectile weapons, bullets and shells. How primitive." Walker felt his face grow hot. "Our weapons are highly effective." "Captain Walker," interrupted the second alien, who had introduced himself as Security Chief Miller, "you must understand. The civilized galaxy abandoned such crude weapons centuries ago. Energy weapons and shield technology are the mark of an advanced species." To demonstrate his point, Miller activated a personal shield. It hummed with a faint blue glow. He invited Walker to shoot him with his sidearm. Walker declined, but Miller insisted. "I assure you, Captain, there is no risk. Please, indulge me." After getting clearance from UN security, Walker drew his pistol and, with great reluctance, fired at the alien. The bullet stopped mid-air, inches from Miller's shield, and fell harmlessly to the ground. "You see," Miller said, looking pleased, "modern energy shields make projectile weapons obsolete. The Council requires all member species to adopt civilized weapons technology." Walker picked up the fallen bullet, turning it over in his fingers. Something didn't add up. "And Earth's membership in the Council. Conditional," said High Commander Turner, "on complete disarmament of your primitive ballistic weapons. We will help you transition to proper energy-based defense systems." The third alien, Trade Minister Brown, spoke up. "This is for your own good. No advanced civilization maintains such barbaric arsenals. They are simply too crude for modern warfare." Walker noticed how they kept using words like primitive and barbaric. His military training told him they were either hiding something or dangerously overconfident. Maybe both. "How long do we have to consider your offer?" Walker asked carefully. "The Council grants you 1 Earth month," Turner replied. "We trust you will make the wise choice." After the aliens left, Walker walked to the window. The massive ship still hung over the city like a giant silver coin. He pulled out his phone and dialed a secure number. "Admiral Reed. Walker here. Remember that weapons analysis project you've been working on? I need everything you've got on energy shield frequencies and penetration testing. And sir, keep it quiet." He watched the alien ship shimmer in the sunlight. They thought humans were primitive, that Earth's weapons were crude. Walker smiled slightly. His grandfather had taught him an old saying, "Pride comes before a fall." The Galactic Council had made 2 serious mistakes. First, they had underestimated humanity. Second, and more importantly, they had shown their hand too early. Now Earth had time to prepare, and if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was finding ways to win impossible fights. Walker looked down at the bullet in his hand. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. The aliens would learn that lesson soon enough. Admiral Reed's underground research facility buzzed with activity. Dozens of screens displayed data from the alien shield tests, while scientists rushed between workstations. Captain Walker stood beside the Admiral, watching as another bullet struck an energy shield they had copied from the alien design. "Show me that again," Walker said, leaning forward. "But slower this time." Reed nodded to the technician. The high-speed camera replay showed something interesting. For a fraction of a second, the bullet seemed to push through the shield before being stopped. "There's your weakness," Reed said, pointing at the screen. "Their shields are designed to block energy weapons. They convert the incoming energy and disperse it. But physical objects, they have to use a different mechanism. It takes their shields a split second to detect and respond to solid matter." Walker picked up one of the test bullets. "So if we could hit them fast enough, with enough force." "Exactly." Reed pulled up another screen. "Their shields would fail, but we need to keep this quiet. If the Council realizes we found this flaw." The facility's alert system suddenly blared. A young lieutenant burst into the room. "Admiral, 3 Council ships just entered orbit. They're requesting an immediate meeting." Reed and Walker shared a look. "Too soon," Reed muttered. "The month isn't up." "They're getting impatient," Walker said, "or suspicious." 30 minutes later, they sat in the Pentagon's main conference room. High Commander Turner's hologram flickered before them, along with those of Security Chief Miller and Trade Minister Brown. "We have detected weapons testing," Miller said sharply. "This violates the spirit of our agreement." "We're merely studying your technology," Reed replied smoothly, "to better understand what we're being asked to adopt." Turner's 4 eyes narrowed. "The Council has prepared a detailed disarmament schedule. You will begin by destroying all military-grade projectile weapons within 1 week. 1 week. General Porter, the Joint Chiefs representative, stood up. "That's impossible. We need time to transition our defense forces." "The Council's patience is not unlimited," Brown interrupted. "We have brought 3 ships to assist with the process. They will establish bases in your major cities to oversee the transition." Walker felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't about modernization. It was about control. Reed remained calm. "We understand. Please allow us 1 hour to consult with our world leaders." The holograms disappeared. Porter slammed his fist on the table. "They're trying to strip us defenseless." "No," Walker said quietly. "They're afraid." Everyone turned to look at him. Walker continued. "Think about it. Why rush us? Why this sudden pressure? They've discovered something that scares them." Reed nodded slowly. "The shield tests. They must have detected them, but they don't know what we found." "So what do we do?" Porter asked. Reed stood up and activated a secure display. "We give them exactly what they want. Officially, every military base will publicly destroy old weapons and install their energy systems." He smiled grimly. "But underground, we accelerate Project Thunderbolt." Walker hadn't heard that name before. Thunderbolt. Reed pressed a button, revealing schematics for a new weapon. It combined traditional ballistic principles with advanced targeting systems, hypersonic rounds with minimal energy signatures. By the time their shields detect the projectile, it's already punched through. "How many do we have?" Porter asked. "Not enough. We need 2 weeks minimum." Walker checked the time. "They're giving us 1 week. Then we need a distraction." Reed turned to Walker. "Captain, how's your acting?" Walker smiled as he caught on. "You want me to play the good student? Learn all about their superior technology." "Exactly. Keep them focused on teaching us about energy weapons. Meanwhile, every warehouse, every unused subway tunnel, every abandoned mine becomes a hidden factory." The alert sounded again. The aliens were calling back. "Well," Turner's hologram appeared, looking impatient. Walker stepped forward, doing his best to appear humbled. "High Commander, we accept your generous offer. In fact, We would be honored if you could teach us more about your advanced technology. We have so much to learn. Turner seemed pleased by the submission. Of course. We will begin immediately. After the aliens left, Porter looked at Walker. Think they bought it? Walker remembered how the bullet had briefly pushed through the shield in the test. They think we're primitive. Let them keep thinking that. In 2 weeks, they'll learn what humans do best: adapt and overcome. Reed nodded, and may God help them when they do. Dr. Maria Ross wiped sweat from her forehead as she studied the test results. Her underground lab, hidden beneath an abandoned steel mill in Pittsburgh, had been running nonstop for 5 days. The alien shield technology was fascinating, and its weakness was becoming clearer by the hour. Dr. Ross, her assistant, ran into the lab. Captain Walker is here. Walker entered, looking tired but alert. Dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept much. Tell me you have good news. Maria pointed to her screens. Better than good. We've cracked it. She pulled up a simulation. Watch this. The display showed a standard alien shield protecting a target. Their shields are incredible at stopping energy weapons. The aliens weren't lying about that. She typed a command, and the simulation fired an energy blast. The shield easily absorbed it. But here's where it gets interesting. She switched to a different view. Their shields work by detecting energy signatures and electromagnetic fields. When they detect these signatures, they create a counterfield in microseconds. Walker nodded. That's why energy weapons don't work. Exactly. But look what happens with a simple metal bullet. The simulation showed a bullet hitting the shield. Frame by frame, they watched it push through before being stopped. The shield takes nearly 50 milliseconds to detect and respond to physical objects. That's an eternity in combat terms. Maria grinned, and if the object is moving fast enough. She ran another simulation. This time, a specially designed projectile moving at hypersonic speeds hit the shield. It passed straight through. Walker leaned closer. Can we reproduce this? We already have. Maria led him to a sealed testing range. A target protected by a copied alien shield stood at one end. She picked up what looked like an old rifle, but with significant modifications. This is our prototype. We're calling it the Mark I Penetrator. She handed it to Walker. It uses magnetic acceleration to fire a specially designed round at speeds over Mach 7. No energy signature until after impact. Walker aimed at the target. May I? Please do. The weapon made barely a sound, just a soft whump. The round passed through the shield like it wasn't there, leaving a clean hole through the target. Beautiful, Walker whispered. How many can we make? That's the best part. Maria led him to another room. Inside, 3D printers and automated assembly lines worked quietly. We're using old factory equipment, modified with new tech. The aliens are so focused on energy weapons, they don't even scan for traditional manufacturing. Their arrogance is our advantage, Walker said. Speaking of which, he checked his watch. I have another training session with them in an hour. They love showing off their superior technology. Maria laughed. How's that going? They're very thorough teachers. Yesterday, Security Chief Miller spent 2 hours explaining why projectile weapons are, and I quote, hopelessly outdated in modern combat. A technician rushed in. Dr. Ross, the first batch of rifles is ready for testing. How many? Walker asked. 500. We have another 1,000 in production. Every hidden facility across the country is running similar lines. Walker picked up one of the new rifles, checking its weight and balance. Perfect timing. The council ships have been setting up their peacekeeping bases. They think they're here to oversee our disarmament. When do we move? Admiral Reed says we need another week to get everything in position. The aliens are starting to get suspicious about why we're so interested in their shield technology. Maria pulled up another screen, showing production schedules. We'll be ready. But Walker, she paused. Their ships are still more advanced than anything we have. Even with these weapons, we're outnumbered. Walker smiled. Numbers don't win fights, Doctor. Innovation does, and humans are very, very good at innovation. He checked his watch again. I should go. Miller gets cranky when I'm late for my lessons. As he turned to leave, Maria called after him. Don't enjoy pretending to be primitive too much. Oh, I won't. Walker patted the rifle. But I will enjoy their faces when they realize just how wrong they were about us. Behind him, the production lines hummed quietly, preparing Earth's surprise for its overconfident visitors. Sometimes, the best technology wasn't the newest. It was the one your enemy never saw coming. At midnight, Captain Walker stood in the silent Pentagon war room, watching dozens of screens tracking alien ship movements. Something had changed. Over the past 6 hours, 15 new Council ships had entered Earth's orbit. None of them had been announced. Admiral Reed entered the room, his face grim. It's happening. We intercepted their communications. How bad? Worse than we thought. Reed activated the main screen. They're not here to help us transition. They plan to take over Earth completely. Walker clenched his fists. The disarmament was just the first step. Always was. Reed brought up more data. According to their messages, Earth is too strategically valuable to leave in human hands. They think we're savages who got lucky with spaceflight. A lieutenant burst into the room. Sir, 3 alien ships just landed in Chicago without authorization. More are descending over Los Angeles and New York. Walker checked the weapons production report on his tablet. They had 20,000 of the new rifles ready, with more coming every hour. It would have to be enough. They're moving too fast, Reed said. We're not ready. The main screen lit up. High Commander Turner's face appeared, but this time he wasn't smiling. Attention Earth forces, Turner said coldly. Your species has failed to meet our standards for civilization. For the good of the galaxy, the Council is assuming direct control of your planet. Walker stepped forward. We had an agreement. The agreement is terminated. Your continued attachment to primitive weapons proves you are not ready for self-governance. Council peacekeepers will now establish control centers in all major cities. The screen showed alien troops deploying from their ships. They carried advanced energy weapons and wore shield generators. Each soldier looked like they could fight an entire human platoon. Resist, Turner continued, and we will demonstrate true military power. The transmission cut off. Reed immediately hit the emergency alert button. All stations. Protocol Thunderbolt is now active. I repeat, Thunderbolt is active. Walker grabbed his coat. I need to get to the Chicago front. Wait. Reed handed him a small device. Dr. Ross finished these this morning. Personal shield disruptors. They create a brief window in their defenses. Should help even the odds. Alarms began blaring throughout the building. More alien ships were entering atmosphere. On the screens, Council troops were already setting up barriers in city streets. They think this will be easy, Walker said, checking his modified rifle. They think we'll just surrender. That's their weakness. Reed pulled up the deployment map. Humanity's greatest weapons were never our guns or bombs. It was them thinking we were harmless until it was too late. Walker's phone buzzed. A message from Dr. Ross. Production facilities still running. They haven't found us underground. First batch of heavy weapons ready. Sir, another officer called out. New York Underground reporting in. Chicago militia standing by. Los Angeles resistance cells activated. Reed smiled grimly. Looks like humanity still has some surprises left. The building shook as an alien ship passed overhead. Through the windows, they could see its weapons powering up, the barrel glowing with strange energy. They're trying to scare us, Walker said, putting on his combat gear. That's another mistake. Reed checked his own weapon. If they knew their history, they'd know that humans fight hardest when we're scared. Walker's team was assembled and ready in the hallway. Each carried one of the new rifles and shield disruptors. They looked nervous but determined. "One more thing, Captain." Reed handed him a small box. "Special rounds from Dr. Ross. She says they'll punch through anything." Walker tucked the box into his vest. "Any final orders, sir?" "Just one." Reed's eyes were hard. "Show them why you don't underestimate Earth." Outside, alien ships filled the sky like giant metal clouds. Their troops marched through the streets, expecting to find a beaten, primitive species ready for conquest. They were about to learn a very expensive lesson about human ingenuity. Sometimes, the old ways were the best ways, and humanity's old ways of fighting had been perfected over thousands of years of warfare. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. Chicago's streets were eerily quiet. Captain Walker and his team crouched in an abandoned subway tunnel, watching alien troops march past through a crack in the ground. Above them, 3 massive council ships hovered over the city like giant metal wasps. Team 2 in position. His radio crackled softly. Underground parking structures secured. Team 3 ready, another voice whispered. Sewer access points covered. Walker checked his modified rifle one last time. Dr. Ross had outdone herself. The weapon looked old and basic, exactly what the aliens expected from primitive humans. They'd never noticed the advanced targeting system hidden inside. "Remember," Walker whispered to his team, "wait for them to activate their shields. That's when they'll be most confident and most vulnerable." The alien commander's voice boomed through the city. "Attention humans, your species is now under council protection. Surrender your weapons and accept our guidance." Walker touched his radio. "All teams, execute Operation Thunderbolt." Nothing happened. The aliens looked around, confused by the silence. The alien commander spoke again. "Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Resistance would be." A single shot rang out. The alien commander looked down in surprise at the hole in his chest. His shield flickered uselessly. The hypersonic round had passed through it before it could activate. He fell without another word. For a moment, everything was still. Then all hell broke loose. From every tunnel, parking garage, and sewer entrance, human forces opened fire. The new rifles made almost no sound, but their effects were devastating. Alien shields flickered and failed as rounds moving faster than their systems could react tore through their lines. "Impossible." An alien officer screamed into his comm. "Their weapons are obsolete." Walker led his team up from the subway, catching a squad of aliens in perfect crossfire. Their superior energy weapons filled the air with bright bolts, but the humans had planned for this. Every fighter had mapped their firing positions perfectly. There was no wasted movement, no missed shots. The aliens' confidence turned to confusion, then to fear. They had expected primitive natives with crude weapons. Instead, they faced an enemy who had prepared for this exact fight. "Fall back to the ships." The alien units began to retreat. Phase 2, Walker ordered into his radio. Across the city, Dr. Ross's heavy weapons teams emerged. They carried what looked like old rocket launchers but contained her latest innovation. Shields that made the projectiles invisible to alien sensors until the last second. The first alien ship never saw the shot coming. The round pierced its main engine, and the massive vessel tilted sideways before crashing into Lake Michigan. The second ship tried to raise its barriers, but 3 more shots hit it simultaneously. It fell between skyscrapers, its crew abandoning ship in panic. The third ship attempted to flee. It didn't make it. "Ground teams, secure the crash sites," Walker ordered. "Don't let them destroy any technology." An alien officer, his arm injured, stared at Walker in disbelief. "How? Your weapons. They're just metal and chemicals." Walker picked up one of the aliens' fallen energy rifles. "You know what your biggest mistake was. Thinking newer always means better." He set the rifle down. "Humans have been perfecting projectile weapons for over 1,000 years. Did you really think we'd keep using them if they didn't work?" His radio crackled. "Captain, reports coming in from New York and Los Angeles. Same results. The aliens weren't ready for an enemy they couldn't detect on their sensors. More Council ships were appearing in orbit, but now they kept their distance. The element of surprise was gone, but it had been enough. Humanity had proven it wasn't defenseless. "Sir," one of his team members called out. "Intercepted transmission from their fleet. They're calling for reinforcements. They're saying Earth has some kind of advanced weapon technology they've never seen before." Walker couldn't help but laugh. "Advanced technology? No, we just reminded them that sometimes the old ways work best." He looked at the fallen alien ships, and that you should never, ever underestimate humans. Above them, the remaining Council ships retreated to higher orbits, their crews no longer certain of their superiority. The real war was just beginning, but the first battle had gone to Earth. And it had gone exactly as planned. Admiral Reed stood in the war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing battles across the globe. It had been 24 hours since the first shot in Chicago, and the situation had changed dramatically. "Report from Moscow," an officer called out. "Alien forces retreating. Their shields are useless against the new weapons." "London confirmed success," another voice added. "2 Council ships captured intact. Dr. Ross is already studying their technology." Reed watched as more green lights appeared on the global map. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were winning. Captain Walker entered the room, his uniform dusty from battle. "Chicago is secure, sir. The aliens never expected an attack from below ground. Their sensors were all focused on the sky." "Of course they were." Reed smiled. "When you think you're superior, you never look down." The main screen flickered to life. High Commander Turner's face appeared, but his usual arrogance was gone. This is impossible. Your weapons are obsolete." "Are they?" Walker stepped forward. "Or did you just assume they were? Too proud to check if your shields had any weaknesses." "We offered you civilization," Turner shouted. "We offered you advanced technology." "No," Reed interrupted. "You offered us submission dressed up as progress. You never bothered to understand humanity's greatest strength." "And what is that?" Turner sneered. "Adaptation." Reed brought up images of the captured alien ships. "In the time you've been talking, we've already reverse-engineered most of your technology. But we're keeping our primitive weapons too. The best of both worlds." A junior officer rushed in. "Sir, multiple Council ships approaching Earth. At least 30 vessels." Walker checked his tablet. "Production facilities report all major cities are armed with the new weapons. Ground forces are ready." Turner tried to look confident, but fear showed in his eyes. "The Council will not tolerate this rebellion. Our fleet will." "Will what?" Reed asked calmly. "Run into the same shields you called primitive. Face weapons your sensors can't detect. Fight an enemy you don't understand." The war room's sensors lit up as the Council fleet entered range, but instead of attacking, they held position just beyond Earth's orbit. "They're confused," Walker observed. "Their intel says we're primitives with basic weapons, but their troops on the ground tell a different story." Reed pressed a button, sending a signal to all Earth's hidden defense platforms. Thousands of Dr. Ross's new weapons turned towards the alien fleet. "Listen carefully," Reed told Turner. "Your ground forces are defeated. Your ships are either destroyed or captured. You have 2 choices: retreat and acknowledge Earth as an equal, or find out just how many other surprises we have waiting. You dare threaten the Council?" Turner's voice shook. "No threat," Walker said. "Just facts. Every minute you've spent looking down on us is a minute we spent preparing. Those civilized weapons you showed us, we learned their weaknesses. Those superior shields, we found their flaws. The Council fleet's engines flared to life, but they were moving backward, retreating to safe distance." "A wise choice," Reed said. "Now, about Earth's membership in the Council. You still want to join?" Turner looked stunned. "Of course, but as equals, not subjects. And we're keeping our primitive weapons. After all," Reed smiled, They seemed to work pretty well. The next few hours were busy as Earth's forces secured their victory. The remaining alien troops surrendered, amazed that their advanced technology had been defeated by weapons they had mocked. "Captain," Reed called as Walker prepared to leave. "Dr. Ross wants you to test something new. She's combined alien energy technology with our projectile designs." "Better weapons?" Walker asked. "Better everything. Turns out when you stop looking down on primitive technology and start combining it with new ideas." Reed grinned. "Well, let's just say the Council is about to learn another lesson about underestimating humans." Above them, the Council fleet retreated further, finally understanding that age and advancement don't always mean the same thing. Sometimes, the old ways were the best ways, especially when improved by human ingenuity. The war wasn't over, but its outcome was no longer in doubt. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not by abandoning its past, but by embracing it. 6 months after the failed invasion, Captain Walker stood in the Grand Council chamber on their capital world. The massive room buzzed with representatives from 100 alien species. Earth's victory had changed everything. "The Council recognizes Earth as a full member," announced the new Council leader, his words echoing through the chamber. The old leadership, including Turner, had been removed after their failed attempt to conquer Earth. Walker smiled as he remembered Turner's final words. How could primitives defeat us? The answer had been simple. Pride blinds, and humanity's greatest strength was learning from everyone, even their enemies. Dr. Ross stood beside Walker, beaming with pride. The weapon she had created by combining human and alien technology was now the most sought-after defense system in the galaxy. "Not bad for a bunch of primitives," she whispered. "Representative Walker," the council leader called. "Please address the chamber." Walker stepped forward to the speaking platform. The same aliens who had once looked down on Earth now watched him with respect and a little fear. 6 months ago, the old council tried to force Earth to abandon its heritage, Walker began. "They called our weapons primitive. They thought newer always meant better." He paused, looking around the chamber. They were wrong. He activated a hologram showing Earth's new defense fleet. The ships combined the best of both worlds, human ingenuity and alien technology. They were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. "Humanity doesn't just adapt technology," Walker continued. "We improve it. Those primitive weapons you laughed at, we've spent thousands of years perfecting them. And now, combined with your energy systems," he smiled, "well, let's just say the weapons market has changed." Admiral Reed, now Earth's Military Council representative, stepped forward. "Earth offers its defense technology to all council members. Not just the new systems, but the old ones too. Because true strength isn't about having the newest weapons. It's about using everything at your disposal." The chamber erupted in excited discussion. Species that had looked down on primitive worlds were suddenly very interested in Earth's military knowledge. "There's more," Walker added. "Our scientists have found ways to improve your shield technology." Dr. Ross. Maria Ross took the platform. "By studying both technologies, energy and kinetic, we've created better protection than either could provide alone. The future isn't about choosing between old and new. It's about combining them." The council leader raised his hands for silence. "Earth has proven that wisdom can come from unexpected places. We believed ourselves superior, and that belief nearly destroyed us. Today marks a new era for the council." Walker watched as the chamber voted unanimously to adopt Earth's combined weapons technology. The same council that had laughed at human guns now wanted to learn everything about them. "Ironic, isn't it?" Reed said quietly. "They came to teach us about advanced technology. Instead, they learned that no knowledge is worthless, no matter how old." After the session, Walker walked through the council station's observation deck. Below, Earth ships sat proudly alongside alien vessels. Their designs were different now, stronger, better, a perfect blend of old and new. "Captain," a young alien approached him. "Is it true? Will Earth teach us about projectile weapons? Walker smiled. We'll teach you everything we know. But first, you have to learn the most important lesson. What's that? Never assume that different means inferior. Humanity didn't survive this long by accident. We survived because we learned from everything. Past and present, old and new. The alien nodded thoughtfully. The council was wrong about humans. Yes, Walker agreed. But that mistake made everyone stronger in the end. Now the galaxy understands. True advancement doesn't mean abandoning the past. It means building on it. As he looked out at the stars, Walker thought about how far they'd come. 6 months ago, the council had laughed at human weapons. Now they studied them. 6 months ago, they'd called Earth primitive. Now they asked for Earth's help to improve their technology. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate humans. We might use old ways, but we never stop making them better. And that was the greatest technology of all.